When you've been married for 9 years, you think you know the person sleeping next to you, their patterns, their habits, the things they say in their sleep. I knew my husband, Julian. At least I thought I did, until I found the earring. It wasn't mine. It was gold, delicate, the kind of jewelry I would never wear because I'm allergic to nickel. I found it tucked in the back corner of our bedroom closet, right next to his gym bag. At first, I tried to rationalize it. Maybe it belonged to my sister from when she visited. Maybe it was old, lost during a party, dropped by accident. But then I found the receipt, stuffed in the inner lining of his jacket. Dinner for two at a rooftop restaurant we'd never been to. From a night he told me he was working late. He even called that night to say, "I'll bring leftovers." And he did. A sad little takeout box that clearly wasn't from a rooftop anything. That's when I started watching him. Julian had always been charming. He knew how to spin a story and make you believe every word. And maybe for years I wanted to believe. I chose to. We had a house, matching toothbrushes, and a shared Spotify premium account. That felt solid enough. Until it wasn't. I checked his calendar. Empty. That was strange. Julian was meticulous about logging his meetings. When I asked him, he just shrugged, trying to keep things less rigid. That weekend, while he was out running errands, I went through his drawers. Not something I'm proud of, but I found something that stopped me cold. A second phone. It was thin, sleek, and powered off. No password, just fingerprints, his and mine, which meant at some point I had touched it, probably without realizing. When I turned it on, the wallpaper was a selfie of him and a woman. She was sitting in his lap, smiling like she belonged there. And here's the thing that made my blood go cold. She was wearing my necklace, the one Julian bought me for our 7th anniversary, the one I thought was just mine. I sat there on the edge of the bed, staring at a photo of my husband holding another woman like she was his real life. And I was the side character. Who was she? How long had it been going on? And more importantly, was I even the only one who thought she was the other woman? Because something about that photo felt off, like maybe I was the one living the lie. I couldn't stop staring at the photo, her arms around his neck, his face pressed into her cheek. They looked practiced, comfortable, not like an affair, but something deeper, established, familiar in a way that stung worse than 1,000 secrets. But what sent chills down my spine wasn't just her smile. It was her face. Because I'd seen it before, not in person, but in Julian's life, quietly, in the background. She'd liked a few of our old vacation photos on Facebook, a random profile, Marie T. No mutual friends, just occasional activity, enough to fly under the radar. I dug deeper, checked her profile again. It was almost empty. Barely any photos, nothing public, just her full name and a vague job description. HR consultant, based in Houston. Funny. Julian had taken a business trip to Houston twice last year. I had never questioned it. But now, I opened my email, looked through his flight confirmations. My jaw clenched. There were no hotels booked under his name for those trips. Just flights, rental cars, and a return ticket. That's when it hit me. He wasn't staying in hotels. He was staying with her. I wasn't just dealing with a cheating husband. I was dealing with a second relationship, a second life. I messaged her. I kept it cold, surgical. "You don't know me, but you've been seeing my husband. I'd like to talk." She replied 10 minutes later. "You must be mistaken. I'm his wife." The room spun. At first, I thought it was a joke. I double-checked the message, the profile. It was her. No doubt. "Julian Grayson," I replied. "Married to me for 9 years. We live in Portland. Who are you?" She answered immediately. "He told me his name is Matt, Matthew Carter. We've been married for 6 years. Dallas courthouse. I have photos. A marriage license photos. A license. I didn't even realize I was shaking until my phone slipped off my lap and hit the floor. Two names, two cities, two wives. I wasn't the side piece. I wasn't the only one. I was wife number one, and apparently I wasn't alone. We talked for over 2 hours that night, me and Marie. Two strangers who happened to be married to the same man. Well, almost the same man. I had Julian Grayson, and she had Matthew Carter. Same voice, same face, two completely different versions of reality. She told me he proposed to her on a lake trip 3 years ago. I told her he was with me in Tahoe that same weekend. She laughed bitterly. He must have had good cell service to keep texting both of us. And somehow that broke the tension, the absurdity of it all, the grief, the anger, the weird sisterhood forged from betrayal. We decided to meet, halfway, neutral ground, a quiet cafe in a little town between Dallas and Portland. We both agreed, no drama, just answers. When I saw her in person, I nearly cried. She looked like me, not literally, but same age, same soft energy. I wondered if he had a type or if he just liked women who trusted too easily. We compared everything: dates, trips, lies. I showed her the necklace, my necklace, that she thought he had bought her. Turns out, it had been regifted. He gave it to her last year. He'd taken it from my jewelry box. I showed her photos of our wedding. She showed me their courthouse certificate. She had no idea she was the second wife. No idea that her marriage wasn't even legal. I thought I was the only one, she said, her voice cracking. I thought I was building a life with him. You were, I said. He just happened to be building too. That's when we made a decision, quiet, mutual, unspoken until it was spoken. We weren't going to confront him separately. We were going to confront him together. We planned it for a Saturday. Julian was flying down to visit a supplier in Dallas that weekend. I knew he was really going to see her. He always brought flowers. She always cooked for him. She agreed to play along, just enough to get him in the house. I booked a flight. The plan was simple. I'd be waiting in the kitchen when he walked in. She'd bring him in like normal. He'd be relaxed, maybe even smug. And then he'd see me. One face from a life he thought he was hiding, and another from the life he thought he could keep. He was about to realize that his wives had stopped waiting for explanations. We were done guessing. We wanted the truth. And this time, we'd be getting it face to face. The moment he walked into Marie's kitchen, time slowed. He had that usual easy charm on his face, the kind he wore like a second skin. Holding flowers, a stupid smile, calling her baby like the past 6 years weren't soaked in deception. Then he saw me. He froze. The blood drained from his face so fast I thought he might faint. He looked at me, then at Marie, then back again, like he was trying to reboot reality. What is this?" he asked, voice barely above a whisper. I stood calmly. Your wives, I said. Plural. Marie crossed her arms. Surprise. He blinked rapidly, setting the flowers down on the counter with trembling hands. Okay, listen, this isn't what it looks like. We both laughed, actually laughed. The cliché was too pathetic to take seriously. Then tell us what it is, I said, stepping closer, because we've compared calendars, addresses, finances, photos. You weren't just cheating, Julian. You were living a double life. He stammered. I didn't mean to hurt anyone. You filed taxes with both of us, Marie snapped. What were you planning? Retirement with whichever one didn't find out first. Silence. He ran a hand through his hair, tried to sit down, and we both shook our heads. You don't get to sit, I said. You get to stand there and listen while we walk away from you. Marie looked at me, then nodded. She reached into a drawer and pulled out a file folder. Copies of your lies, she said, tossing it at him. Photos, emails, credit card statements. I'm taking it to the legal office on Monday. He looked stunned. You're pressing charges? You bigamized 2 marriages across state lines, she said, cold and calm. You committed fraud. So, yes, this isn't just emotional anymore, it's criminal. I stepped toward the door, pausing beside him. We loved you, both of us, and you wore that love like a costume while you played house in 2 cities. He whispered, You don't understand. But I was already walking away. Marie followed. We got in my car together and drove off. I never looked back.